This is quite a sight, isn't it?
It is, Tom. And the bats aren't living in a cave. They're actually living in this duplex right behind me. The people who live in this duplex tell me that the bats are living in between a wallboard and the brick of their home. And every night around 7:30, after a good day's rest, the bats get up in search of food. Now, that may sound very simple, but believe me, it is an amazing sight to see. For the last few months after the sun sets, all the people who live in this Orem neighborhood come out to see them. And so far, they have not disappointed their fans. First a few, then some more. It takes a few minutes to see them all. They fly around, and then you realize what an awesome sight. Hundreds of bats.
It's incredible. You could never imagine that many bats will fit inside the house. It takes 5 or 10 minutes for all the bats to come out, and when they do, they just circle and kind of create a big black cloud and then fly off for the fruit trees.
Ian Berg first saw the bats last week after all the kids in the neighborhood lined up by his fence to watch them.
When I came out to see what they were doing, I asked them what they were waiting for, and they said they're waiting for the birds. So I stood out here and watched for them, and I saw all the bats, and that's when I couldn't believe my eyes. Lots of bats.
But concern is not lost amid all the intrigue. Spectators worry about the health hazards. After all, bats aren't usually referred to as man's best friend.
Bats do have a kind of a bad rap. They do, and they can carry rabies. They can pass rabies on, but that's not a common thing amongst them.
But Blackwell also says bats like to keep to themselves. They're afraid of humans and shouldn't bother anyone.
And many people are putting up bat houses because they will keep the insects down around homes and around agricultural areas.
But they did bother Fox photographer Brian Willey.
Oh, jeez.
They just stream out like oil and just keep coming and coming and coming.
Amazing video, Tom. And let's just kill one myth right now. Have you ever heard the phrase blind as a bat?
Yep, sure have.
Okay. Well, the Division of Wildlife tells me that bats see just fine, but at night they use an echo system to find out where they're going and what's around them. So they really can see. They're not blind.
I didn't know that. Hey, what are people who live in the area going to do? They can't put up with this for long, can they?
No, they really can't. I've been told that a BYU professor is supposed to be coming out here and clearing the bats out of that house, but there will be a mess left behind, I'm sure. The Division of Wildlife also says that there will be a lot of guana left behind, Tom.
Guana?
Guana.
I've never quite heard that term, but I guess it's appropriate here, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think you can probably tell what guana is, but just to give you an example, I was not standing underneath the bats tonight as they flew out so that guana would not land on me.
Oh, no. Okay. Thanks, Robin. Quite a story up there. Well, Weber State is one of the country's top education bargains. The university is showcased in the
But one thing is for sure, in the morning, they're back where they started. More on the bizarre bats coming up. But first, our top story. Business is booming at Salt Lake International Airport, lowest in the country.
In other news, it's a common way.
Neighbors are being invaded by bats, hundreds of them.
News 4 Utah's Brent Hunsaker was down there tonight to see for himself, and he joins us now with more. Normally, we don't have bats in our houses. What are they doing down in this house?
Well, believe it or not, these bats are just passing through. You know, just like birds migrate, well, these bats are migrating south to warmer climates for the winter. And they're not just in this one neighborhood. We're told that tens of thousands of them are spread out in Utah County and around the state. It just so happens that in this neighborhood, a few hundred have taken up temporary residence in an attic.
The Bat Watch has become a nightly ritual. People start coming out around 6, keeping an eye out from their porches and from the sidewalks.
I noticed them last week when I saw my kids lining the fence up here and just watching something, and I asked them what they were watching, and they said they were watching for the birds.
It was like it was pouring out like oil, and then they were taking off for the fruit trees over there, and I just thought, yikes.
Is that scary?
Yeah.
Coming out of that little vent, it's a roof vent in the house right there at the bottom of the eave.
Joining the Bat Watch tonight is Don Roberry. He's been hired by the landlord to get rid of them.
So what's your strategy?
Wait till the bats are gone, seal the outside holes.
By 6:30, you can hear the bats chirping. And then, a little after 7, they come out. First a few, and then a flood. It takes about 10 minutes for them to empty out and spread into the night sky in search of food, insects mostly. There is a certain novelty to this. It's a lot of fun for the kids, but there is this word of caution. If a bat is down, stay away from it. Most of the rabies cases in Utah can be traced to bats. If you're bitten or scratched by a bat, it's assumed that you've been infected, and that means shots immediately.
Some people say, well, can I just watch for the symptoms and then let you know? No. If a person's going to get rabies, you have to prevent it with the immunization, because once rabies symptoms develop, it's fatal. I mean, almost invariably fatal.
Well, that's sobering. Still, if you stay clear of them, there should be no problems. These bats aren't going to attack you. Just remember, they will be gone in a few weeks, just as soon as their food is gone.
That really was fun to watch them come out of that house. Now, these folks in this neighborhood seem to be taking it all in stride,
Right.
actually with some humor. But what if somebody really wants them out now? Can anything be done?
There's really not a lot that can be done. In fact, we should clarify what the exterminator said, and that is he's going to wait for them to migrate away from Utah County, and then he's going to seal up the house so that they can't come back next year when they're passing through town. But really, if you try to trap them now or try to seal them off now, you're going to create problems. You're going to trap someone inside the place, and then they're going to die, and it's going to smell, and it's going to be terrible. And also, you're going to have problems when they try to come back in the morning and find that their cozy little hideaway has been sealed up.
And really, bats are good. I mean, they kill a lot of insects for us.
That's right. As long as we stay away, they do their job very nicely, and they keep the mosquito population down.
Interesting story. Thanks, Brent. Well, it's a burger with more fat than 4 banana splits.
Exotic island is an exotic island is usually the kind of place where you soak up the sun and sip pina coladas.
Yeah, but that isn't always the case in the movies. Janine Golightly's in our Utah County newsroom with more on the Island of Doom. Janine?
Well, Michelle, in just 60 seconds, a pair of Orem teenagers hope to scare and amaze their audience, and maybe even win an award in the process.
Let's get out of here.
And the volcano just blows up, and the dinosaurs go haywire, and people run off the island.
Let's go, Harry, come on!
Was it you guys screaming?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah? Did you guys do some little screams in there?
I was getting
You did the grunting. I'm all, watch out.
It's called The Island of Doom, and the young film producers are finalists in the 3rd annual Teen Digital Movie Making Contest. Chris Smith and Chris Hadlock are juniors at Orem's Timpanogos High School. They created this 1-minute sci-fi flick because it sounded fun.
Because we get it edited and put together, you know, make a movie.
They put in about 24 hours at the keyboard to turn out the mini-movie, but they say it was well worth it because they're one of just 24 finalists nationwide, and they think they have a pretty good shot at the grand prize.
And they're enthusiastic students. They have a real knack for editing and an eye for video and presentation, and have done a good job apparently because they're finalists in the contest now.
Well, the boys will find out just how good they've done this Saturday in Santa Barbara at an awards ceremony. And even if they don't win, they'll have a chance to rub shoulders with the likes of Michael Douglas and Lawrence Fishburne. Back to you, Michelle.
Hey, that's worth it anyway. Yeah, thanks a lot, Janine.
You're welcome.
Hey, a huge day for Utah State fans and the Bats.
Again, just leaning into it.